Hi everyone, I'm back today with another unboxing video for the Bargain Bead Box. This is going to be February 2025's Bargain Bead Box collection, and it's called Floral Fancy. So you can see the bag that's sitting here, and it's chock full of all sorts of beads and findings and all sorts of stuff in here. So we'll go through each one of these bags individually. And then at the end of the tutorial, like I always like to do, I would like to do just a small, short little tutorial on how to make something. I'll probably end up doing a pair of earrings. That's typically what I do on the unboxing videos, at least. So, meet me back here in just a few seconds, and then I will start showing you the contents of the bag. If you want to skip this portion of it, you're more than welcome to do that. I have timestamps down below to let you know when the tutorial starts for the earrings. So meet me back in a second and I will start showing you the bags. So this is the first 7 bags of what you get in the box this month. So I have it all laid out here in the different 7 things. I'll hold it up a little bit closer to the camera so that way you can see what it is, and I'll give you the description as well. So this is bag number 1, and this is Lapis Lazuli Faceted Teardrop Pendant with a Bail. It is dyed, so you can see the different colors in there. You can see a little bit of the brown that's in the lapis. You can see a little bit of the white, but like they said, it is dyed, so the white is picking up some of the dye color in there to make it a little bit more blue. It's still a very beautiful pendant. And it's got this little bit of a bail where it's kind of a floral design. It's got a couple of flowers right here. It's kind of hard to see because of the glare, but you might be able to see that there's a 5-petal flower here, and then there's a little flower down here in the bottom. And then this looks like it's branches around the side of it. And then on the back, it's just pretty plain on the back. But it does move, so it goes back and forth. So just in case that is a problem or an issue or something, just to make you aware that that does move back and forth a little bit. And then it's got just a very simple bail at the top. Very nice, I like that one. Then we start with our other gemstones. This is going to be a 14.5 inch 8 millimeter crackle agate faceted round beads. These are dyed and heated. And this is the color theme of the box, is blues and purples, which is awesome because those are 2 of my 3 favorite colors. My third one is going to be green. So anything in green, blue, purple, turquoise, anything in between, those are my favorite colors that I tend to wear a lot of and make jewelry of, and just anything in my life. Even my car color is blue. So I love blues and purples. But this is faceted round beads. They are crackle agate, so you can see the different varieties. Each one of the beads, you get a little bit more white in some of them end up being a little bit more clear in color. But I do like agate because you always get that different variety of stones in just one large strand like that. Bag number 3 is going to be 15 inches of 6 millimeter lapis lazuli matte round beads. These are also dyed, so you can always pick up, like this part has the white sitting right here in this bead from the lapis part, but it looks more blue. It doesn't come through as more of a white color, and that's because it's been dyed. But you get 15 inches of this, and it's 6 millimeters, so it's a very good size to use in bracelets and in necklaces. You can also use it in earrings if you want to use like 1 or 2 in an earring, something like that. It's always good to use that with. Bag number 4 is 7 inches of electroplated Mystic Quartz Nugget beads in purple iris. These are pretty cool. I haven't seen something like this in a while. So they're just different shapes and different sizes of nuggets. And it's been electroplated with that coating to make it look like it's almost like an AB coating is what it just reminds me of. But it's pretty much on just about all 4 sides-ish of the nugget. So not one side is going to not have this different type of shininess to it. So these are pretty neat. And they're not really heavy either. This whole strand is not very heavy. So you can probably use this in a necklace, and if you wanted to, you could just string it all on just like this, and maybe have just a very small bead in between, just to give it a little extra pop of color. Make it be maybe a neutral color, like a silver or something. And then that would make just a really nice necklace just like that. So that's bag number 4. Bag number 5 is 7.5 inches of 8mm hematite faceted round in metallic blue. Now hematite, this particular one is man-made, so it is not a natural stone. It is man-made, but it's been coated with the blue iris metallic to it. So it looks like a check glass bead, but when you pick up the bag, you can definitely tell this is hematite because it's got some heft and it's got some weight to it. So you can definitely tell that there's something going on with it. But it's very nice faceting and everything on it as well. Nice color as well. It's a good neutral, not darker blue like that. Then bag number 6 is 12 pieces of 12 by 9.5mm crystal faceted oval beads, and this is the color of peacock blue. So here's that color, and it's very similar to the color scheme and like of the nuggets that's over here as well, where it's got that blue and purple flash to it. Very sparkly beads there again, but these are glass beads. And then bag number 7 is a 13-inch strand of 6 by 4.5mm crystal faceted triangle beads. This is in the color of slate blue iris. So these are those somewhat popular triangle beads that have come out recently that we all love and like to make designs with. And I will probably most likely use these in my earring design that I'm planning on doing. Hopefully it works out. I got to do my sample one first, and then if it works out, you'll see it. If it doesn't, then we'll be doing something different. But this is the triangle beads, and that's bag number 7. So that's the first 7, so meet me back and I'll show you the next 7. Alright, so we have bags number 8 through 14 sitting here next. So bag number 8 is going to be a 41mm lampwork glass flecked oval focal bead in azure skies. Now this little guy, or big guy, kind of looks like, to me, if you've ever been swimming in a swimming pool and it's got like a blue bottom to it, like the floor of the swimming pool is blue, and then you've got the water on top and it makes ripples sometimes. That's kind of just what it reminds me of, is like swimming in a swimming pool. But it's a very nice lampwork bead, so you've got the holes going through the center like that. And it's a very nice focal. Definitely something that I will probably be making just a simple necklace out of, where this guy's in the center and then I'll have stuff sitting off either side of it. So hopefully I'll be able to make a video and show you how I'm going to use this little guy, because I probably will be using this and most likely be wearing it myself. So bag number 9 is going to be 10 pieces of 10 by 11 excuse me, 10 by 11mm glass tulip beads in violet blue. So these are glass beads that are shaped in a tulip form, and you've got the hole going through the center. So I don't know if you can see the hole. You probably can't see the hole very well, but the hole is going from in the center of the bead, from the top of the flower petals all the way to the bottom of the tulip. And some of them have a little bit more purple to them, some of them have a little bit more blue to them, some of them have blue on one side and not so much on the other side. So each one of these beads is slightly different than the next, but very cute, very nice. Our next one is bag number 10, and we get 2 pieces of 8mm glass rhinestone flower drops in tanzanite. Now these are little small pendants that you can use as either a small pendant or you can use them as a small charm. They'd go great in earrings if you wanted to do that. You can also just use it in a bracelet to add a charm tip bracelet if you wanted to do it that way, or you can make a charm bracelet itself, whichever one that you want to do. But it's a very see-throughy purple color. It's really kind of hard to see. Well, you can see it like that. So it's kind of a see-throughy purple color, but very nice, very dainty looking. And then bag number 11 is 4mm crystal faceted bicone beads in light sapphire AB. This is a 10-inch strand. So you got your typical bicones. Like these colors too. I'll probably use one of these in the earrings too if I can get my idea to work out. So you might want to set those aside if you want to follow along. Bag number 12 is definitely something I'm going to be making something out of. I love this color. It is 2 pieces of 14x7mm embossed crystal teardrops in Bermuda blue. That has been one of my favorite colors of all time of crystal colors, is Bermuda blue colors. So you can see that it is the teardrop shape, and you have the hole up here close to the tip of the teardrop, and then you've got this fancy looking that makes it sparkle just so much more. And that fancy look is because the back part of it has been basically dug out or carved out. You can see it right there, and that causes that extra sparkle to come out through the other side. So these are very, very pretty. I love these a lot, and I will be making some earrings out of these guys. Just not sure exactly how I'm going to use them just yet, but I will be making earrings out of these. So that is that bag. Bag number 13 is 2 pieces of 20mm enameled butterfly charms in cornflower blue. So these are very just cute little butterflies. And those that know me know that I love my butterflies, and with them being in blue, it's even better. Love it. The back side of it's just a silver color in the back side. So they are one-sided. You can still use them as earrings. You just wouldn't be able to do a one going one way and one going the other way, unless you want to have your earrings look like that. And then bag number 14 is going to be a 30mm brass filigree floral pendant. Sorry, I lost my place on the paper there for a second. But here's your pendant. So it is brass, and it is made of a metal, and it's a little wobbly. See, you can kind of bend it just a little bit. So I would be careful with doing a lot of beadwork on top of this filigree. Some of the filigrees you can add beads to the surface, and sometimes that adding that weight to the surface, depending on what types of beads that you use. Seed beads you'd probably just be fine with, but other bigger beads or heavier beads like the hematite strand that we looked at earlier, something like that may cause this to eventually kind of buckle a little bit. So I would just be cautious with it. I've never done any type of beadwork on top of a filigree just yet. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers do it, so it's something that I would like to do in the future. But this type of filigree is kind of neat because on the front side you have more of this darker silver color, the antique silver color that's here on the front. But on the back, you still get that antique silver color, but I don't know if you could see it in the video or not, but it's got like markings and things on the back of it, and that's probably from the process of making the filigree itself. But it's a different type of texture to the back of it. It's got more texture on the back, whereas the front is very smooth, and there's no texture on the front. So it's very different. So that's bags 8 through 14. So meet me back and I'll show you bags 15 through 21. Okay, so I'm back with the last 7 bags, bag number 15 through 21. So bag number 15 is 4 pieces of 18mm brass filigree floral links. So this is the same design as the pendant that we saw in the previous clip, except it's just a smaller size, and it's got a links. So it's got a hole down here at the bottom and a hole up here at the top. But it's the same type of design where it's more of a shinier look on the front, and then it's got more of a textured look on the back. So there is a front and a back to it. So if that is something that you want to make sure in your designs, then you have to make sure that you're facing them in the correct way when you're using them. Bag number 16 is going to be a 30 by 27 millimeter floral pendant. And this guy is kind of like a lotus flower. And it lends itself very much to being able to use brick stitch around the side too. It's a little bit thicker than the other pendant that we have, that I showed in the last clip. So it's a little bit thicker than that. So you can put some seed beads along the side and it would sit a little bit better along the side here on this one. So this one would be a very good one to do brick stitch around, just to add a little bit of color around the edge. And then you can put like maybe a couple of beads here in the center and then just use this as a necklace, and then that be your pendant that you have. So that's one option for you. But on the back side it is just basically a blank slate on the back side of it. So bag number 17 is going to be 10 grams of 13 by 11 millimeter lotus flower charms. Now these charms are basically the same thing on front and the back. So that's the front side, and then, if I can get one to turn around the right way, and then that's the back side. So it's the same type of design on the front and the back of it, but it's very unique. I haven't seen anything, because it looks like it's almost like a crescent moon or something, and then your lotus flower is sitting inside the moon. That's what it reminds me of, at least. But you get 10 grams of that, and it looks like in my bag, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, that ended up being 12 of these charms. So your number may be a little bit different, because it is weight based. So you may have 11, you may have 13, you may have 12, just like me. So bag number 18 is 10 pieces of 9 by 7.5 millimeter floral bead caps. Now these guys are really unique. They look like a tulip to me. So that is what that looks like. And it's the same type of pattern and everything on every petal, and then you've got the hole that goes down the center right there. Now these guys I will probably use in my earring as well, as long as my design comes out good. So if you want to follow along, then set these guys aside as well. And then bag number 19, we're almost done with the box, which is chock full of beads and supplies yet again. Bag number 19 is 20 pieces of 7 millimeter flower spacer beads. And they're just little beads that have the same type of design on both the front and the back. And then the hole goes through the center. So you've got a hole that starts in between one of the petals, and then the hole on the other side comes out the point of one of the petals. So if that ends up being something that you want to make sure that you're putting your beads in on your necklace or on your bracelet, if you're stringing and you want it in the same direction, just keep that in mind. One of the holes goes through in between the petals, the other hole comes out one of the middle of the petals. Bag number 20 is a platinum plated brass figural flower toggle clasp. That was kind of hard to say. So you get your toggle clasp where you got the toggle, and then the circle portion of it. Also comes with a little jump ring, which is always handy to do. Now this flower to me reminds me of a rose in bloom. It kind of looks like a rose, maybe even a carnation, but I'm thinking more of a rose, because on the round part here there's little dots that stick out the ends or the edge of the round part. And to me, that kind of just reminds me of thorns. So I'm thinking this is more of a rose, but it could be a carnation too, something like that. But it's very pretty, doesn't matter what it is, it's very pretty. And I'll probably be using it in a bracelet. And then your last bag, bag number 21, is 1 meter of 8 by 5 millimeter and 4 by 3.5 millimeter Fiargo jewelry chain. So the meaning of that is that it is a chain that has 2 different sizes of the loops. So you've got your larger size here in the center, and then you have a smaller size also. So it's very unique, very different. You can always make all sorts of nice jewelry patterns with this. And then you can use this in bracelets as well to help you with extenders as well, all sorts of different things to do with that. And you get a meter of that, which is somewhere around 39 inches. So that is the last of the bags. So meet me back in just a minute and I will get together a supply list of what you will need to get the earrings done. Alright, so I am back with the supplies that you need for the earring. And I'm excited and very happy to say that my earring idea did work out. So this is what I was planning on doing and it did work out and it looks pretty cool. I think so at least. Alrighty, so if you want to follow along, these are the supplies that you'll end up needing. From the box itself, I'm using the triangle beads, so you'll need approximately 8 of these beads. You can use more or less, it really just, it doesn't matter. It depends on how many beads that you want to put in your little loops here. I'm using just only 2 of the bicones. There again, just depends. If you want to put some bicones down here on the bottom, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I'm using 2 of the little tulip bead caps, and I'm making it look like it's the wires coming, like dropping out of the bead cap itself, so we're going to use 2 of those for the pair of earrings. I'm using Miyuki 11/0 size seed beads. This is the Crystal Labrador full color of the seed beads, the one that looks very, very like a pure silver is kind of what this color looks like to me. And this Miyuki number, if you're interested in the number from the manufacturer, is 55006. So if you're interested in that, you'll need a pair of ear wires, whatever you choose to do. Now, it just depends on which orientation your ear wire is going in for the loop. Now, this loop is going in an orientation like that to where you can't see the loop when the earring is sitting on your ear. And that is going to be something that you're going to want to look for, is an ear wire like this. You don't want to you don't necessarily, I mean, you could still make it work, and I can show you options for it to work if this is the type of ear wire that you have, where your loop is actually facing you to where you can see the loop itself. So I'll give you options here in a few minutes when we get to that point, that if you do have an ear wire like that, or if you want to use an ear wire that's in that form, then you can still do this earring. It's just going to look slightly different and you'll need a little bit extra of supplies. You're going to need a total of 4 crimps per, 2 crimps per earring, so a total of 4 crimps for the pair of earrings. You're going to need some sort of wire. I'm just using some colored wire. This is the purple amethyst color of the 49 strands soft flex beading wire. It's the medium size and it's just a pretty purple color. And that kind of goes along with the theme of the box with the purples and the blues. And then as far as tools are concerned, you'll need a pair of cutters, wire cutters, chain nose pliers, more than likely. This is kind of optional. I used it to kind of help hold on to some of the wire in order to get my tension right and everything. I'll show you what I mean when I get to that point, but you'll need that if you want to. It's kind of an optional thing. And then some sort of a crimper. You can do a flat crimp if you want with your chain nose pliers. Perfectly fine to do that as well. We're just going through these crimp tubes several times. So I guess I probably should say that too, that your crimp tube needs to be a pretty good size. These are 2x2 crimp tubes, and the interior portion needs to be a pretty good size because we're going to go through this crimp tube with 4 strands of the wire. So all 4 of these strands are going to go through it once underneath, excuse me, underneath the tulip portion right here. So we definitely want to have a crimp tube that has a good inner hole. And then I'm just using the magical crimpers just because that's what I've been trying to learn how to use lately. So I'm going to use that to get myself some more practice. So go ahead and gather up these supplies and then meet me back and I'll show you that first step. Alright, so the first step we need to do is cut off some parts of our wire. We need to get 2 lengths of 5 inches of wire. So just take a measuring tape. This is how I cut mine off, is just kind of estimate it. It's somewhere around in this area right in here. And then cut off 1 link. And then use that first link as your gauge for the second one. Now this is actually my second time of recording this. I will show you the product of the first one after we get done with this one. And I'll show you what I'm going to end up doing with the product of the first one, because it did not turn out the way that I wanted it to. So we're going to do it again. So we're going to do one wire with 5 of our triangle beads on, and then the second wire is going to have 3 of the triangle beads. I'm going to start off with a seed bead. You can always use a bead stopper here if you want to. I have misplaced my bead stoppers at the current point in time, or my cats took off with it, one or the other. And so I don't have them here with me, so I'm just holding on to the wire. I'm going to pick up a seed bead first, and then I'm going to pick up a triangle. And I'm not worrying about the orientation of the triangles. And then I'm going to put 5 triangles on with seed beads, starting at the beginning, in between the triangles, and at the end. As long as I can find the hole. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, this should be the last seed bead. Alright, then put that one down. Pick up your other one, do the same thing, just put three of your triangles on. It's probably a good thing that I had to do a different clip, because my dog was barking like crazy because somebody came to the door. So hopefully he doesn't start barking again now that I may have jinxed myself with that. Alright, so now we've got a strand of 5 and a strand of 3. We're going to pick up both of these strands and we're going to make a teardrop shape. Now what you want to end up doing is you want to take the wire that has the 3 of the triangle beads. Sorry, trying to talk and do something at the same time sometimes does not work for me. Alright, so to grab the 2 wires that have the 3 strands and make the 3 strands sit a little bit inwards, or a little bit smaller than the 5 strand, and then just pinch that together to kind of give yourself a gauge of what it's going to look like. Once you make your first one, your second one is when it becomes a little bit more difficult. And like I said, I'll show you my first round of my second one and why I am not going to use that for the earring, and I'm going to do something different with it. So this, kind of hold it down, you know, get yourself a little bit of a gauge of what it's going to look like and everything. So that is about approximate of what I want it to look like. The wires are sitting just about in the same area. When they're on either side of your head, you're really not going to notice it too much. Oh, I forgot to get more crimp tubes out. Let me grab those real quick. Knew I was forgetting something. Alright. Okay, so now we want to string our crimp tube on. Now just take your time with it. The 4 strands do fit through these particular crimps. And I've got all the product information listed below. You just have to take your time with getting them in the crimp. It does fit. This last one is always the more difficult one to try to get through. You just have to try to find that one space that's open in the crimp tube to be able to get all 4 strands in there. Come on. Okay, and then let's get that 4th one in there. And it's not wanting to fit. Of course not, because I'm recording. So, okay, let me see if straightening my wires out would help a little bit. It worked the first 2 times I did this, and now it's not going to work. Come on, little guy, you can work with me. Oh, see, there it went. Okay. It's tight, but it does fit. Oh, darn. No, I missed one. There we go. Okay, come on. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, no, 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 no. It's trying to come back out. Okay, that one's in there. That one's in there. That one's the one that I need to push out. There we go. Okay, now we have all 4 in there. Okay. Whew, thank you for bearing with me, or coming along with me through that nice little difficult portion of trying to use a crimp tube with 4 strands of wire. Wow. Okay, so all you have to do if you run into that same issue, just readjust your wires and the lengths and everything that you want your wires to sit at. I'm pretty happy with where I'm sitting at the moment. After going through that, I should be happy. I'm going to put the crimp tube in the middle of the concavity of the crimping wires, pliers, so it looks something similar to that. Once I'm happy with it, I'm sorry I'm kind of out of frame because I want to make sure it's in there right, I'm going to squish down. Now the good thing about this crimp is that it doesn't have to look pretty. It just needs to be crimped. So on this one, you can use this as your practice to figure out how to get your crimps to look right, if you want to. But just make sure that you're going around it a couple of times, enough times to where it gets a good grip on all 4 wires. This is the first time I've done anything that has more than just 2, I think I was off thing the whole time there, sorry. This is more than the first time I've done anything more than just 2 strands of wire through the crimp tubes. But it seems like the earring, the first one that I made, is holding together pretty well. Okay. Alright, so I think I'm happy with that. And to test it, you can always grab onto your wires and then just tug and pull, and if nothing's happening, then it's pretty much in there. So do another test, see what it looks like that. So we're looking pretty good so far. Alright, the next thing you want to do is you want to pick out which one is your longest wire. Leave that one there, and you want to cut off the other 3. So you can do it all as one swoop if you want to, or take it one at a time. And I don't think my pliers are going to let me cut all 3 of them at the same time. Of course not, because, whoops, they just went flying. I'm recording and making a mess. Welcome today as I make a mess on this new recording. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is pick up our tulip bead cap, and then that will go down. So now all of that is covered up, so you're not going to be able to see the crimp tube and or the messy cutting off of the other wires. So we put that on next. Now we're going to put on our bicone and then slide on your next crimp tube. Now what we're going to do with this long piece of wire that is left over, we're going to make a loop, and then that's where your earring is going to hang out of. So we're going to make a loop, go back through the crimp tube, the bicone, and the bead cap. And then this is where I had difficulties, the first one, or the second earring that I made. So let's see if we can not have too many difficulties and actually get this to work in a nicer fashion than the other one was turning out to be. Alright, so I'm trying to feed the wire down far enough to where I can see it. so I can grab it with my pliers and just hold on to it with my pliers. Alright, so this is where I messed up on the first round, and I'll show that to you now. When I crimped it with the first take, I ended up having a very large gap in between the crimp tube and the bicone. Now, the very first time I did this, I had very little gap sitting there. So what I ended up doing was not feeding the wire down back through the bead cap enough, and it ended up being just really far out of proportion. So in order to do that, I'm holding on to the wire still with my pliers, and I'm tugging on the wire, but I'm also making sure that the bead cap, the bicone, and the crimp tube are going down along with it. So that way we're actually getting more wire down here that we're pulling on with our pliers compared to what is up here at the top. So you just keep tugging on that just ever so slightly. If you need to, you can always hold on to this other half with another set of pliers, if you're able to do something like that, which I may have to do that here in a second, because I don't know if I can get all of this to move down nice enough with my left hand. Let's see. I wonder if I should switch this and hold this with my left and do that with my right. Let's do that. Okay, so now I'm holding the wire in my left hand, and then I need, whoops, I need to pull down on that, but keeping this the same. There we go. Okay, just figuring out which side of the wire, which side of the loop that I need to hold on to in order to keep my tension to where I'm making the loop smaller, but trying to get the wire to come out the bead cap a little bit better. Okay, I'm probably just going to go down just a little bit like that. Now I want to test this before I crimp, because once you crimp, then you're kind of stuck with that and trying to figure out what you want to do with that. And I'll tell you in a minute what I'm going to end up doing. So my loop should be just about right. So I'm going to go ahead and let go. I'm going to grab my crimpers again. I want to try to get my loop to where it is parallel with the beads, with the loops in the front. It's going to be a little off center, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to end up doing if that ends up being the case. And getting the crimp tube in the center again. There we go. There's a picture of it for you. Just making sure I'm far enough away from the bicone to where it's not going to break the bicone, and then crimp down. And then turn it to its side, get it back in the center, and crimp again. Then turn it just a little bit and crimp, and keep doing that until you have a nice looking little bead sitting there. Now this one, you take your time with it, because this one you will see on the earring if you're not familiar with these types of crimps. And like I said earlier, you can always use just a flat crimp if you wanted to. You don't have to use a fancy crimp like this. This one just makes it look like it's another seed bead sitting there. So that's why I like to use them. And I am still trying to learn how to use them, so my technique is not the best at the moment. But it will get there with practice. And that's all you have to do, is just keep practicing what you want to learn and perfecting your craft. That's all you can do. Alright. So that is not the best looking crimp, but I can always play with that a little bit more here in a little bit. Now, what do we do with this wire that's sticking out? Go ahead and take your pliers or your cutters, try to get in there as close as you can, and then just snip that off, and hopefully you don't throw them across the room like I did earlier. And now your earring is done like that. So now notice how this loop is kind of facing in this direction, where this loop is more facing in the correct direction. So we can do this in one of two different ways. We can test it out, see what it looks like, and if you like it, just leave it. Or you can add a jump ring. Nothing wrong with adding a jump ring to your earring to make your earring swivel a little bit more than if you didn't have a jump ring in it. So this is what it looks like without the jump ring, and that actually looks okay. It is twisted a little bit, but you really can't notice it that much. So I think I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to end up doing with this guy, with my first round through, I'm just going to make this into a nice little pendant. And yes, it's going to have a little bit more of a gap sitting there, but I'm just going to put a little jump ring on this and then string it on a thin piece of chain of some sort. So I'll string it on a thin piece of chain, and I'll make myself a pendant to go along with my earrings. Alrighty. So that is your earrings, and we actually made a pendant too if you end up doing that. Alright, so I want to say thank you for watching my tutorial on how to make these pair of earrings, and actually we did an extra where we did a pendant as well to give you another option of what you could do with these, as well as the unboxing of the February 2025 Bargain Bead Box called Floral Fantasy. So thanks again for watching. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as that like button. Go ahead and leave a comment down there. Let me know what you think about the video and how you're doing for the day, and I will see you back in the next video that'll be coming out shortly.